guest for the day is Ms.Radhika Subramanian, who is a corporate professional, has lived a professional journey and also started her career as a business student. So let's discuss how could we make the most of our MBA life from her insights and the experiences that she has lived.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, and you've actually taken me down the memory lane as far as my MBA days are concerned. So those were the best years of my life. I would say the 2 years that I spent at the B school were actually a transformation in itself, because they helped me evolve as a person, and they helped me to evolve myself personally as well as professionally. I remember, like in most B schools, you have the foundation fortnight, so you have your foundation months where you're exposed to all the basics and fundamentals. And I remember, all the senior people from the institute who came and addressed us. They said that give it your 200% for these 2 years, and trust us that when you walk out of the institute, you'll be a completely different person, right? So I think those words got really etched in my head, and I ensured that I gave it my 200, 300% when I was at the B school, and I really cherish every moment I spent there.
So like today, when you deliver a lecture to like more than 200 students, are you like reminded of the times when you were a student and then you used to listen to all the guest lectures? So life comes a full circle at a certain point. Is it like very surreal?
Yes, you can say to a large extent. I remember when we were the freshers, the so-called first year MBA students, and we used to have announcements saying that so-and-so person from so-and-so organization is coming to address all of you. So we would all be very excited, and we would get these announcements at the beginning of the week, and generally these guest lectures happened on Friday or on the weekends. So through the entire week we would be reading about that person, or during our coffee breaks or at the canteen we would be speaking about a particular corporate personality. And we used to either occupy the seats in the auditorium, or mostly it used to be packed. So then we used to sit in our classrooms, and they used to have the entire talk telecasted to all of us. So of course those days were very inspirational, and little did I know that one day I would also get an opportunity to speak to young and budding managers like all of you. Yeah, so in a way life's come a full circle, and I think that's in a way our way of giving back to the student community, and there can be no wealth which is greater than knowledge. So I guess yes, in a way it's a very nice feeling when you get to interact with young minds, which have no baggage.
And when you were a student, when you were interacting with industry leaders, did you ever felt a little nervous in the beginning, and how did you break that nervousness and maintain the formal as well as informal balance it?
So when you ask me about nervousness, I think it's very natural, and it's not that some of us get nervous, some of us don't. But I guess it's all about how you manage your nervousness and convert that into positive energy. So yes, when I was also kind of used to get the opportunity to interact with senior management, in the beginning you are a little nervous because you suddenly feel there's too much at stake. And then as you kind of start soaking in, and as you start being a part of the system and the process, you realize that they are also as human as you are, and they are all there to guide and support you. So be it in your organization, or if you have mentors outside the organization, at a professional or a personal level, everybody is there to help you out if you seek out help. And I think there's no kind of you don't have to shy about being nervous. Yeah.
Ma'am, they say these business leaders are very great storytellers. So any such story that you want to share from your MBA journey, apart from of course the academics and all the professional stuff? Any interesting story?
So I would say that there are a lot of stories, but some of them which kind of really kind of are still there, very fresh in my mind is as I said about the exchange program that we did to Japan. So I still remember that when we gave our names, we had a very strict selection process because they had only limited number of seats, and we had a selection process for who will make it. So first the excitement of getting an opportunity to visit a foreign country and a country like Japan, and being an engineer myself, and then kind of doing my MBA, I thought that that's the perfect place to be as far as the exchange program is concerned. And when we gave our names, we were getting in anticipation as to how are they going to do the selection process. So the college had their own way of screening us, and when the names were announced, we were really overjoyed. And then is when the journey actually began, because as I said, we had almost 1 month intensive program on getting ourselves accustomed and oriented to the way of life in Japan. So we had people who would come and teach us the basics of Japanese language, in terms of the culture there, the social aspects there, how to conduct ourselves. When we are visiting the industries, when we are visiting the factories. We also had homestays. So we were also oriented as to how we need to conduct and carry ourselves when we are staying with a family of a different culture. So I think all these things were really instrumental in kind of making our exchange program successful, and we enjoyed every minute of it. And the best part is that we also had our dean and our senior professors who accompanied us. So when we went on these industrial visits and tours, they also kind of kept giving us snippets. When we used to kind of come back to our buses to move from point A to point B, so a lot of insights were shared even then. And then at the end of the day, sharing a meal together, So I think those things helped us also break the ice with our professors, our dean, and yes, I think it made the entire journey very memorable. And even now when I look back, I kind of remember those days and I feel nice about it.
Well, when we talk about MBA journey, especially if we talk about here at IIM Sambalpur, there's this catchphrase that people tend to use. There are 3 S: sleep, socialize, and study. You focus on 2, you compromise on 1. So what were the 2 S's that you focused on in your MBA life, and what was the one that you compromised?
You said sleep, socialize, and study.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so at least in our time, social media had not penetrated so much then. So we had lesser number of distractions, right? And as I said, that some of us had taken the words of our senior professors and dean so very seriously that we decided that those 2 years we'll try as much as possible and keep the distractions away. So if I were to prioritize, I would say studies, and then sleep, and then yes, a little bit of socializing. That was how it was. There were occasions when we were sleep starved because we had lectures to attend, we had examinations, we had internships, then we had projects to be done. So though I was a day scholar, but a huge amount of time, we were literally living and breathing out of the institute. We were just kind of just going home to freshen up and probably just come back. So those were the times then. And I think the hard work and the effort that we put in those 2 years, has kind of shaped us in a way that we're able to kind of take up challenges that come our way. Be it small, big, or any challenges, but yeah, it's kind of at least prepared us.
I think these days the culture is the other way around. People would socialize first in the name of networking.
Yeah, so networking is absolutely important, and there are various opportunities which a B school provides you to network. So one is of course through guest lectures, on and so forth. Second is also be very active in your alumni networks, because what happens is that it's a very good platform for you to then engage with your seniors and also with your juniors, and also keep a tab on what your batchmates are up to. And so I make it a point to attend my alumni meet every year, because one way it's good to catch up, and also it's a good way to network and also to keep yourself abreast of what's happening. So so I think these are some of the ways in which you can use your networking skills. And then of course it can help you to have a job change, or if you're looking at any kind of an interesting project for which you need insights, or if you have you want to kind of discuss with your senior who has been a mentor for you, speak to him or her and get some practical wisdom. I think you must not miss out on that opportunity.
And talking about missing out, did you ever get this fear of missing out when you were doing MBA?
So Money, I have always been a very determined person. So I have always kind of been very clear about my objectives in life. So even at B school, I knew that I had to kind of make the most of those 2 years because I know those years are never going to come back. So in terms of fear of missing out, I think to some extent it happened during the placements because you wanted to kind of be your best self when you're sitting for the campus interviews because you had the best of companies who came to attract talent. So in a way, the fear of missing out could be just maybe not among the students, as I said that we should not miss out on XYZ company. So those are the things. But as such, as I said, since we had lesser distractions, this thought really never kind of crossed my mind.
Students, especially us MBA students, think that the drill is only for these 2 years, like all these sleepless nights and all the stress that you go through during exams and all that. And most of us perceive that corporate life is relatively easy. Is it any different, easy, or it gets more difficult?
Like I mentioned to you, the MBA prepares you for surviving in the corporate world. So it's not very different. Of course, the assignments that you work on are real time. The problems that you face are real time. And of course, as you climb the ladder, you have to manage all your resources well. Of course, you have your days when you have to make an important presentation. So it could be long nights you want to prepare for the presentation, and then make it eventually to senior management. And then of course, you have people issues to be sorted out. You will have issues where you have to tackle certain problems which your team members may come up with. So I think the 2 years exposure that you get at a B school, I think kind of holds you in very good stead to kind of solve these problems that are thrown at you.
Ma'am, during when we are doing MBA, we'll come across several real world scenarios, like different cases.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. You can ask me if it's a personal question. You can ask me. That is okay. She won't hold. You go ahead.
No. So my question is.
So I'm being.
So like during MBA, we do a lot of assignments and projects, but many of us will be missing out on case competitions, which corporates ask us to take participate in. Like how these case comps are going to help every one of us.
So I remember in Velinker at least we had a library which kept a tab on all the competitions that were there, and we had a notice board also which was put up, which had in Velinker we used to have this. So at that point in time, we didn't have WhatsApps of the world, we didn't have your WhatsApp groups, we didn't have so much of social media penetration or so much of life being digital. So then it was notices on the notice board, or we used to get emails from the library saying that so and so the smart manager contest is on and XYZ corporate contest is on for managers. So I think if you have the time, you must take part. You can probably say that in a month I can probably look at one contest or something, or probably 1 in 2 months, depending on how your schedules are. Because don't do it for the sake of doing it. Ensure that you kind of spend good time understanding the problem and then kind of then trying to attempt it. One thing is it gives you a cross-functional perspective, because sometimes in B schools we are so kind of bogged down with our specializations. Ki boss, marketing hai, so I only think about this, HR hai, only HR. But these kind of case studies give you an opportunity to think about problems from a cross-functional perspective. You tend to start appreciating the other functions, right? Because sometimes we have this bias in HR, or you get what I mean, right? So no offense to any budding HR managers here, but we kind of at that stage of our lives we tend to be a little biased about certain specializations. But I think by getting exposed to case studies, you realize what value that particular function brings on the table. So if your HR didn't do recruitments on time, or if your HR didn't organize training programs, your team wouldn't be able to deliver. So please take part and don't be too worried about bagging the prize. It's you take it as a learning, and your professors will be more than happy to share their insights with you because they have kind of one help students take part in such contests, and of course they have seen such scenarios in their work life. So yeah, and you can always speak to people in allied industries or through your networks. They will also be able to give you tips.
Yeah, we can go. We spoke about teams. So over here we are given projects where all of us have to form a team and work together. Now here in academics, I mean there are people who really don't want to contribute and they ride on the team's performance. In MBA we call them freeloaders. So we think that they are doing it over here, they'll do it in the corporate life also. Will they again ride on the team's performance and still nobody would notice them? Either the team performs good and they get recognized, they don't the team does not perform good, they don't get recognized. They're okay with anything. So like how do you deal with such people?
As managers, I think one thing you should know is to different strokes for different folks, as I tell you. So something may work for you, something may not work for money, something may work for Shivani, so on and so forth. You should basically understand what motivates a person and then kind of dole out that particular carrot to him or her. Talking about freeloaders, I think they exist across all walks of life, and professional life is no different. But as as smart managers like you and your smart superiors can kind of read through the body language and can read through the work that's being done. So it can kind of take you through probably one project to the next, but I don't see it as very long term.
Yeah.
There's no substitute to perseverance and hard work, right? So you have to kind of ensure that you get your hands dirty. You have to ensure that you kind of are there to solve the problem. You're there when your team needs you, and I think as you kind of graduate and you're climbing your corporate ladder, I think managing people is the most important skill that you need to have, right? Because you have to. If your team succeeds, then you succeed, right? So even if a project is a success, it's because everybody in the team has played their part. And if you have regrets, then you should be the first person to get it on behalf of your team and not kind of pass on the stress to them. So yes, it's what you can say. It's a challenging hat to don, but I guess with your experience you get there.
So they exist everywhere. Like the issue that we've encountered is sometimes, I mean, we call them freeloaders. It's not that they can't work, you just have to get them to work. And that's the most difficult part.
You should know which carrot to give them, no?
Yeah, that's what. So I think more than that, it's about getting things done from people also. Maybe that's why we put in a team, which is so different.
So you learn delegation and you need to trust. And what I also tell my team is it's okay to make mistakes, but don't repeat the same mistakes because then it kind of becomes a blunder, right? So it's human. We all make mistakes. But what irritates is when the person keeps repeating their mistake. So that's what kind of puts you off.
I think we also need to understand not everyone is expert in everything. If we just
Absolutely. So I think appreciate people's strengths, accept that people will have their limitations. No one is perfect. But as a manager, what's important is to leverage on your team members' strengths. Form a team in such a way that the skills complement each other. Some could be left-brained, some could be right-brained. So then somebody who's more data-driven, somebody who's got good communication skills. So I think when all the pieces of the puzzle come together, then it kind of makes the picture look good. But it completes the picture, as they say.
one last question before we wrap up. What is the one question you always wanted to be asked, but you'll never be asked that question?
Frankly speaking, I haven't given this a thought, but I think most questions have been asked because as young budding minds, you all have your list of questions ready. And I don't remember not being asked anything that has crossed my mind.
Any final tips for MBA students?
I would say few tips. I don't want to sound preachy, but at the same time, I'm kind of keeping it very practical. So one is situation changes, and learn to adapt. Because what happens is that when you're entering a new setup, your people there who are working, they have their own way of working, so on and so forth, and you have to go there and create a space for yourself. So keep your egos aside, kind of see how you can gel with them and work together as one team. I would say be agile, be like a sponge, try and absorb as much as you can. Don't be too hung up on your profiles, and don't be too hung up on I do this, I won't do that. So be open to any assignment or task that comes your way. Give it your best, and yeah, because at the end of the day, the learning is going to be tremendous. You don't know where that learning is going to help you. I would say, and also one last thing is try and find a mentor, personally as well as professionally, because it makes a lot of difference. And that mentor need not be somebody who's senior. We have organizations where they even have reverse mentoring. So somebody who's senior can have a mentor who's younger, because probably he or she wants to pick up social media skills or digital marketing skills. So mentor being somebody senior is a myth. You can choose your mentor because that's very important. Because the kind of clarity of thought and perspective that, or the way they show you the mirror is something that you'll be lucky if you have a mentor, because it gives a lot of clarity in your thinking and helps you to take your decisions in a much informed manner.